Morning, everyone. My name is Fred from The Space. The Space is where we do freelancing. And I think in most of the updates which I do, I keep on mentioning about the space. And I think it is an important thing for me to do right now, to just take you to the space so that you can see the space, where gigs have started from. So where the challenge of delivery, managing the workstation and the rest, everything. So we decided to come together and have this unified dashboard where we can be able to see whole freelancing accounts, gigs, the earnings in one overview. Multiple accounts, of course, here to track across Viva, Upwork, and direct clients we get from the academic writing. You understand that? So we also have a smart reporting here where we generate insights and track performance across these platforms and the accounts. And then, of course, the revenue collection. So, the biggest challenge which people experience when they are working together as partners is how revenue is being managed, patterns and everything, and we needed it, and we did it here on the main gigs app. We get real-time updates, like if there is a shift which is ending, we get reports on what has been done, who was in the shift, and what was the performance, what the feedback did they give us from the insights which they are generated from the platforms. If there is a metrics which has been affected, they give us, and then we can be able to make decisions quickly. And if you are interested in knowing more about the space, you can just Google here, the main gigs space, and then you will be able to see some of the questions which we believe will actually answer some of the things which you are curious about. But today, I want to give you an update on the GigSap community, the entire community which we have been building together for a minute. And the community has been growing. Remember last time when we did an update, we had around 1,100 people on the WhatsApp channel, which we have. And right now you can see we have 1,500 people, members up from 1,100. And then last time, remember, we had 104 people who had signed up, just signing up. And today we have more than 230 people who have signed up on the GigSap platform on their journey towards being listed as vetted freelancers. And then, of course, we have 32 people who have vetted or been vetted up from 8. You can see this one. Last time we had 8 people who were vetted. This time we have 32 people who have been vetted and available on the platform. If you are someone who has an account, or you have a job which you want to deliver, or you have an opportunity, you have access to opportunities, but then you don't have the capacity to deliver, GigSap connects vetted talent, here assisted workflows, and the collaborative delivery infrastructure in one trusted expert presence platform so that you can deliver at scale without compromising the quality. Remember last time when we had an update, I had told you that we wanted to increase the number by at least 20% in the month of July. And you know what? We managed, because you can see here, we have 32 people up from 8 people we had when we did the last update, and the numbers have been increasing. We have the signups around, and the projects, of course, our first client will come post their projects here. They invite the freelancers to their workspace, and then after they have been ranked, they give them the project, and we have done 5 projects. We want so many people such that when you post a project, who is ranked, you are confident to do confidently without any challenge. But there has been a problem, of course, and we are trying to solve this, because though these numbers are increasing, there is something that is not increasing at the same rate. Our activation rate, you can see it is very low here. You can see it. It's low. And 230 people who have signed it, and most of them have not actually completed their onboarding. And I'm asking you, please go and complete your onboarding. Even if half of the people who have already signed up completed their profiles, we could be much better positions as a community, because our intention is not just to have people registered on our platform. We want people get listed, verified, and ready to be invited for the project, because we had already planning on deploying resources into different markets to bring gigs and the projects to the platform. So we need people who can actually work, people who are ready to deliver quality. In as much as we've been branding, one thing has actually matched out that and it's something which is very common for startups, that you plan, then you execute. And when you execute, you get the feedback. Sometimes the feedback comes directly from the people you are building with. Sometimes it comes from what happens when the plans meets reality. Because there is a plan and then there is reality. And we have learned quite a lot. In the last update, I talked about the first code which we wanted to train on the 4 training tracks based on the kind of work which we see at the space and the kinds of jobs which are coming in to our ecosystem. And the idea is just simple. Train people in specific areas so that we can have more people who are able to deliver quality. And but we realize that people are very busy, of course. We organize sessions, people show interest, and then people agree in the times which we are going to have those sessions, but then when the actual time came, the turnout was very small. And we understand why. People are doing different things. People are juggling different jobs. People are trying to make a living of the plans we executed, simply didn't materialize as we expected. And we have decided to pivot a little bit. Instead of entirely having live sessions, the trainings, I am going to record training sessions and make them available to the community. Those courses, I remember we talked about AI, introduction to AI and annotations course. And if there is something which we can do right now, which we are going to try that we have not tried, is to have question and answer, QA sessions for the community members. So if you are going through the training, which we have recorded, and you are stuck somewhere, you can bring the questions and we deal with them all together. Over the first few months, we have seen a lot of things happening around AI training. When this thing started becoming popular, there was a lot of noise. People were talking about thousands of jobs. People were selling accounts. People were selling information on how to get onboarded on those AI training platforms. And at some point, you could wake up and find 1,000 messages on those opportunities in WhatsApp groups. These platforms, of course, they are there. But it has become harder for the people to execute some of the projects which are available. And that is something I've been saying for a while. Someone who has been in the space and who understands what is happening, freelancing has waves, right? Freelancing has waves, and we have seen these things before. We have seen in microtasking, transcription, academic writing, different platforms come and go. And I personally been in this space long enough to see these cycles repeat themselves. Now and then a new platform come, everyone rushes into it. There's a lot of money, people make money. And there's a lot of noise, everybody wants to get in. But now the problem is not really the wave, because that's where people are making money from to survive, do 1, 2, 3 things, and to see the economy running. The wave itself is not a problem. The problem is building your future around the wave instead of building yourself as an individual. Because every day there's a new wave. You jump into it, you spend your time there, you forget about what you are actually becoming as an individual yourself. And that is the question I want you to ask yourself. How do I get next task? And start asking yourself a question like, what am I becoming good at while I'm doing these tasks? It's a question which you should actually ask yourself all the time. And I have repeatedly talked about freelancing as levels. Even if you go to the Gigsa platform, you will see there is a blog about tasking as levels, which has explained it very clearly. I have been confidently telling you that freelancing is a vehicle whereby you will have to alight at so many stop points. But I have just identified 3. The first one is tasking. The second one is being skilled, and the third one is being able to do system level decisions or be a strategic advisor or partner to whoever who needs that type of freelancer. So tasking is not a bad thing. Tasking is where most people get started. You get instructions, you follow the instructions, you deliver and get paid. So the first thing is you get paid for complying with instructions, delivering, and getting paid. And we have done that. We have done that. I've personally done it. When we studied Amazon Mechanical, we then moved into different micro-tasking platforms. Did annotations. You remember that one? In writing recently, friend of kind of AI training work, we did that one. There is nothing wrong with that, but tasking has a limitation. Someone gives you instructions, you follow them. You don't necessarily have to think beyond the instructions. Typically, it's like someone who is working in Membley Clayworks company, and they have been given a patch of bricks to move from one place to another, and you have to move them. I think the best thing which you can do is just to do it, depend on how powerful you can. You be able to move so many wheelbarrows. And I believe tasking should actually be a starting point, especially for students. Even academic writing was for students, but now you see things are shifting. They are better off us in freelancing. So use that tasking to explore, understand the ecosystem, discover what you are good at, and build a skill around that. Move from tasking into skill-based freelancing here. And I'm going to contextualize it for you so that you can be able to understand what I mean when I'm saying like you have to move from tasking into skill-based freelancing. You have to build something harder to automate. That is how you are going to navigate successfully in this space. The question should be, what skill am I building? Because everything that is repetitive and predictable can eventually be automated. And we are seeing that one right now. The tasks that were easiest to automate are becoming harder to find. But when projects require domain knowledge, experience, expertise, human judgment, the question changes. We have seen projects around biology. For those people who are working on Mecca, I did it on, I think, March. We were doing software engineering agent care. It wanted human judgment, experience, and expertise. We did Snorkel, and right now, majority of you have handshake accounts with some projects which require expertise in biology, medicine, finance, law, and still you cannot find chemistry, software engineering, and other specialized areas. And you cannot find a tasker who will do them. You should ask yourself as to why. This is not simply about following instructions. You need to understand what you are looking at. You need to make a judgment. You need to know when something is wrong. When you are doing benchmarking of the AI models, you read the Codex 6 and Cloud 6, I think then, we were trying to see which model was more efficient, effective, and stronger than the other one. So we were to make the judgment based on the projects. And they told us to use our own projects. I took my own project from Experian project and I was ranking it, and I could see, like, of course, Cloud was the best. So the only thing which AI is not going to replace is the domain knowledge. And that domain knowledge is probably something which you study in campus. If you're using AI to train AI, you have to understand something. You can't just use AI to generate an answer and assume the answer is correct. Or the AI will find a challenge towards what it has generated. It can give you some insights, of course, but then it is going to be very difficult. If you are generating from AI and you are using AI, you are testing your complex against the AI, how is it going to be difficult? If it's biology, you need to understand biology. If it is finance, You need to understand finance, because the whole point is that you are bringing human judgment into the process. That is what it means. That is why it is becoming very difficult. We have very few people who have actually managed to use AI, and then with a combination of their knowledge and expertise, at least to find some of their tasks at medium level complexity. You get it? And this is why some of these platforms now have different levels of complexity. Trivial, what we call, is the medium and the difficult. When I was doing these projects, I've already told you, it's hard. That makes the difference. The expertise matters. What am I becoming good while I'm doing these tasks? If you are math, you are English, you are biology, or whatever you've been doing tasking, and then ask yourself, what am I doing well here? I do that one in software engineering. The thing has not always been, how do I get the next task? Because if that is what you are thinking about, tasks will be automated and you will be out of the game. And I want to make a reference actually to the people who are training AI, and tell them that AI training is a proof of the domain knowledge, your contributions, your human judgment, experience, expertise, because previously on most of the projects which were available, the thing was most tasks were to follow instructions. But right now it is becoming very complex and you can bear evidence about it. And I want to come directly into GigsHub. The people who have signed up on GigsHub, they have completed their platforms, and they're interested in it. So the thing is that before, most tasks were about instructions. Anyone could do them with a bit of training. So you get training, and then you're good at it, and then you're done. But now it's becoming increasingly difficult. It's becoming difficult because the domain knowledge, expertise is needed. If you are maybe in software engineering, finance, medicine, it needs people who can make judgment whether it is actually right. That's what AI is doing right now. And if you have been doing those tasks, whatever can be automated. And the AI companies who are doing better, they are likely to come up with a product whereby they can be training your AI with those tasks which can be automated. What are you going to be doing as a tasker if you do not have the domain knowledge, human judgment, and the real-time experience? It's going to be very difficult. And I want to make a reference closely, especially for the people who are on GigsHub, because I realize like over 90% of the people who are on GigsHub, they are tech people who are in different domains in tech, in different contributions. And I've said these things severally, that people can have the same title, one day be doing different things. And I want that thing to be communicated clearly on GigsHub, right? Most of those people are technical. Some are software engineers, backend developers, data people, and people working in different areas of technology. But I want to challenge the way we think about technology. Technology is not the same as it was in 2020. The internet has changed. The way software is being built has changed. AI has changed the speed at which things can be built. Someone can now learn enough coding in a short period of time. Vibe coding, and something that previously could have taken much time, maybe 6 to 12 months for you to learn something like web development. So if you're a software engineering and you have a profile on GigsHub here, don't just come to GigsHub and tell us, I am a backend developer. Tell us, what problem can you solve? What can you build? What market do you understand? What kind of clients can you help? What have you already built? What do you know? Because you have been in this space long enough. And you can't be telling us that your work is just building a website or anything. Maybe I can be able to help you. Like, you are so generic. If you are taken Go and look for a problem, find a market, build your own product. Use AI to help build, hunt it, put it out there. Work with it. Work with it, because eventually I want us to have people in the community who don't just have a title. And I'm encouraging anyone who is interested in tech. You can learn how to vibe code, build your own digital product, and have it. And grow with it, create a brand about it, around it. And then by the end of the day, when we'll be having enough infrastructure for us to build our stable coins, all those things, then they will become very easy for us to move out of those giant tech companies like Google, Meta, and the rest, and be able to create and monetize our own products. Should not be feeling bad that people now know how to vibe code with Lovable and all those no-code tools, and they can be able to do what you planned to do for the last 8 years. Just go ahead, you're ahead of them, do it even better than them, have ownership, and then tell us what you can actually be able to do. Don't come and tell someone I am a back-end engineer, right? Come. Tell us the problem you are solving, the market which you're targeting. This is what you understand about the market, and how much value are you going to give as a software engineer. This actually brings me to GigsUp, the platform which we are building. The thing which you've been asking about, people who are in freelancing, who are doing tasking, who are skippers, who are system thinkers, who we already have on GigsUp. You've been freelancing for 5 years, working with people through their accounts. You get a project, you deliver, you get paid, and it repeats. And so, if I ask you a simple question, where is your reputation? For instance, I want you to look at scenario 1 here. What if the accounts disappear? What happens to your work history? What is going to happen for someone who you've been working with for the last 5 years, doing academic, PMLA, maybe you've been tasking, you have their accounts. What will happen if this person actually finds them in some strange situations that they cannot be able to give you those jobs which you are doing? What's going to happen to you? And another thing is, if the person giving you the work disappears, what happens to you? And the last thing, if the relationship ends, how do you prove I have been working with them? And I understand how difficult it is to compete in some of the existing platforms like Fiverr, Upwork. It takes time, it takes resources, it takes positioning. And for many African freelancers, it is a difficult game to play. So we have decided to build our own identity layer, a place where we can build your reputation. Reputation compounds. You get a project, you deliver, you get paid, the clients give you the feedback, you do another project, you deliver, again, the reputation grows, and the reputation stays with you. And we have decided now to build something which can't die. Even if I die today, GigsUp will be there, right? Don't build your career on someone else's account. Let me give you a practical example. I've been working with someone who owns a freelancing account. They get jobs, give you the work, and you do the work. They pay, and I understand the dynamics. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I want to ask you, what happens if those disappear, right? Recently, we had an account with several people working through it. The account had been running almost continuously. Then suddenly, Fiverr decided to log us out. The password needed to be changed, and the verification was sent to a number that had already been reissued by Safaricom to a certain guy in Marra. We couldn't access the account. Luckily, we managed to find the person, and then we sent us the code. We paid him, of course, and then we managed to recover the account. But imagine if we didn't find that guy, or Safaricom had not reissued the number, and that number was someone who we don't know. And already there were people who depend on that account. And that is the reality. If an account disappears, what happens to you? And that is why I'm telling you, don't just build your career around someone's account. If you've been working with someone who has been giving you projects, bring those relationships into GigsUp. Here, bring them here. Create your profile on GigsUp. get your work verified, get 3D projects from the people who you've been working with, get verified work, and then you will deliver projects. That projects become part of your work. The reputation compounds. And this is what we are trying to achieve through GigsHub. We have already delivered some projects on the platform, right? Right now, we have the 2 vetted people listed. We have already delivered projects through the platform, and we are continuing to test the system. You can look at some of the profiles here. These are experts, people who have been listed. For instance, let's select the first one, Felicite, because this one we have worked with her directly at the space. She has delivered data analyst, science, and AI-related services on our platform. The project is posted. We run AI suggestions, and then AI suggestions lists the people who have their skills match closely with the project, and we assign them. And when we are talking about compounding of your reputation, this is what we mean. Your information is here. You have listed what you can be able to do. You have done some projects. The client has left reviews. We have your AI skills network readiness report and everything. And this brings you to the biggest question. What are we building that will still be valuable when opportunities disappear? A very important question. If AI training wave disappears, what do we have? If the platform closes, the Fiverr and all the rest, or the AI training platform closes, what do you have? If the account disappears, what do you have? If the client disappears, what do you have? If the tasks disappear, what do you have? Or what do you become? And that is what I want us to talk about. Building skills. Build skills, build your expertise, build your products, build the relationships, and build your reputation. And we have built an identity layer where you can build your reputation, because the waves will keep coming and the waves will keep disappearing. At the moment, we are moving to domain expert contributors. The next thing will be like the companies in Nairobi or in Lagos or in South Africa be looking for people who can contextualize their chatbots. And when that wave comes, what are you going to do? So that's why GigsHub is here, community where you are not just chasing the next gig. We are building careers, we are building businesses, we are building products, we are building reputation, and we are doing this thing together. So if you have already signed up on GigsHub, please go and complete your profile. And if you have a feedback about what you are building, give us. Share with us. We can see how we can help you position yourself better in GigsHub so that you can get better opportunities. And that was about, say, community update. Thank you, and have a good day.